What's up, guys? Welcome to the 2025 North Texas Open coverage by MX Disc Golf. My name is Christian. I'm here with the homie Jackson.
What's up, guys?
And we're ready to see Harry Myers in action with some awesome talent on the feature card.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day today out here at Harry Myers Park. We got a couple really good players here for you.
And shout out to Hooligan Discs for the tournament.
First, we got Jackson Mcdonald, myself here. I'm 944 rated. Now we got Jacob Courtis, aka Cupcake. He's 1,000 rated, bringing some power. Here's Fredy Meza, legend, 1022 rated, absolute stud. And finally, we got Mason Marchbanks, 1016 rated.
All right. Gotta get the high fives going, fist bumps. There's Garrett. Shout out my brother-in-law.
Owner, Hooligan Discs, great guy. Check him out.
Yeah, so we're going to start off on hole one.
And I don't see the card in front of us.
It's a par 3, 360-foot shot. I think it's iconic. I've been playing here for 15 years. Love it. The pond is OB if you get too far left. Playground on the right side, OB. What are you throwing here, Jackson?
I'm taking my Luna. I'm going through this middle route just because today was a bit rainy earlier in this week, so I didn't want to play the hyzer just because it wasn't gonna skip, and I turned it over. But it's okay. It should be easy up and down.
Yeah, especially from
Cupcake's probably going the big spike hyzer, but he actually also goes Luna because we had a little challenge off the tee. He said, "You went Luna? All right, I'll one up you and throw my Luna."
Looks like circle's edge. Might have a look.
Mid-circle too.
Fredy throwing. Looks like a fairway driver. Heading nicely into the circle.
There's no skips today. He got a little bit of ground play, but not the normal skip you'd normally get.
Yeah, Myers is notorious for no skips after a rain.
Watching this shot from the tee pad, this was insane. He did my little flex nose-up shot just to stall it right before the basket, and it looks like he actually hit basket there. I don't know if we knew that during the round, but it looks like he hit basket there. Yeah, it was a little windy today, so that was my cash actually, not my dimes. Just don't want to play around with any of that wind.
Okay, with a look. What is that? 70 maybe.
Yeah, maybe deep circle 2 here. I think he's putting Warlock still, actually, from Gateway. I don't think he's switched over to any Discraft yet.
Is it a run? Oh, catches pull.
Yeah, really good line there. I was really shocked that one didn't get that lift.
Fredy wishes he had that back.
And then Mason's just walking over here. This is should be a pretty easy putt for him here for his solo birdie as it's looking so far.
Good way to start the round.
Yeah, everybody else here is probably gonna be tapping in pars. I was absolutely shaking here.
That was a tester for you.
That was a tester for me. Yeah, I was a little headwind putting downhill. First
problem for Fredy.
First
putting that with the
NPO.
bag.
Yeah, everybody else is just tapping in here, but Mason getting a stroke on the field, actually. That one, I think, played a little over par today.
Yep. Moving on to hole 2. Hole 2 is a par 3, 320-foot shot. Danger if you skip too far. It does go pretty downhill into a creek.
Here we had a pretty good headwind. Mason's throwing on a zone here, getting a little flex, but getting some good ground play down to that filter area where the Parks Department actually just added a whole bunch of new stuff to help it drain.
Yeah, it looks like you hyzer out. Maybe a bit short. But you got some decent ground play in the circle.
Yeah, just trying to play it safe there. Didn't want anything turning over into that creek or the OB long behind the basket. Yeah, now Cupcake going absolute massive spike hyzer here. I think he's throwing on a Firebird, and that one was really close, and we all thought it stuck, but it rolled away a decent bit. But that was we were all
Great
very
shot.
impressed.
Great shot for sure. Fredy looked like he went with a mid-range. Filters nicely, about 15 feet.
Yeah, and this wind is blowing. If you can look at that flag, it was steadily 15, 20 mile an hour this day. I kind of went in between a run and a layup, and my body just said no, just lay it up.
Yeah, that's a tough one to miss because you can catch Gage and head towards the water.
Yeah, Fredy had awkward footing there, but he had a nice cleanup there for his birdie.
Okay, about 15, 12 foot. Oh no, catches the top.
Yeah, little unlucky there. High chains with that stiff left-right didn't stick it there for him.
Luckily he stayed though, because you can roll about 25 feet.
Yeah, and then the creek
Downhill.
would take you away with all that water that we had that week of rain.
For sure.
Mason getting another birdie here, going back-to-back birds to start this tournament. Very impressive there. So those first 2 holes played under par, just barely. But now we're coming into hole 3. Christian, take it away.
It's a 362-foot par 3. Here you want to throw something that flexes a little bit towards the right and ends up with a tiny bit of fade. Some players will be throwing mid-ranges. Some others might be throwing fairways.
Mason went the higher shot here with a mid-range. It drifted a lot, but it has some integrity and came back. Just probably 20-footer there, maybe a little less than that. There was a really good left-right wind on this hole, just moving everything over, as you can see on Freddie's shot there.
Yeah, he did throw a nice little shot though. Avoided some of that push by the wind.
Got a nice skip too, and then come up to my shot. I'm throwing on a Athena here, and you can see just the wind helps take it. I gave mine a little height, and then yeah, a little deep, but you know,
Yeah, check for PEDs.
Cupcake's actually throwing on a Luna here, which I was pretty impressed by. And
Oh, that was perfect.
yeah, it was a pretty clean shot.
Not great landing zone, but pretty close to the basket.
Yeah, I think he took some casual relief. Yeah, I had a little something, I just missed it left, but you know, 3 pars is not great to start. Yeah, Mason here taking some time. Not a lot of wind on this green, so it's a bit confusing. Just a little left side, a little pace on it, a little low. Just not going to be a perfect putt. I suppose his 18 down dreams are over. Yeah, Cupcake did take his casual relief from that creek there, but should be easy enough.
Especially when you're a 1,000 rated tour level player. That should be good.
Yeah,
Mason with his par, Jackson with the par. Really think Mason missed out here on starting 300 to 3.
yeah.
But we're at hole 4. This hole is very challenging. 319-foot par 3. There is Mandos on the right side and OB on the left.
This is the hardest hole on the course throughout the entire tournament, actually.
By far, yeah.
Yeah, played almost as full stroke over par, especially with this wind. And here's one of the reasons why, if you don't get it turned over all the way, you get this added OB that Garrett put in. So Fredy will be putting in 3
That's a tough. It's very tight, the OB on the left side.
Yeah, you also have a little stream creek on the right that's playing casual, so you do have almost a landing area that you want to get into here, but your first job is just get out this gap, and I promise it's a lot tighter than it looks.
Squeaky.
Okay. Making the gap. Looks like he's inbounds, putting from just outside a circle.
I got a low ceiling putt there with that cedar. Mason this was an amazing shot, actually. Just didn't get a lot of distance because of that left or the right-left pushing him down, but I loved the height out of his hand when I first saw it.
Yeah, he might have a 40-footer for his birdie.
Yeah, I'm ripping on a driver here. I try and keep it lower and let it skip, but that wind just held it, and I got cut up in the tree here, about the same spot as Mason.
42 foot or low ceiling. That might make it tough.
Yeah, actually Mason doesn't really have the low ceiling. He's just got the ripping headwind, as you can see by that flag there.
Yeah, Myers is notorious for wins. Tournament play, always there.
That was a pretty high putt with that wind, just catching it up here. I had to go down to a knee just because I'm kind of tall and that cedar's hanging a little low. I gave mine a pretty good bit, I'd say, with that headwind, but just a little low, a little right.
Cupcake down on the knee as well, running it for bird.
Yeah, decent bids out here with this headwind. It's really hard to get putts to putt confidently in that headwind without going a little far away.
Fredy trying to make his par.
So
We'll be taking a bogey. First one of the round.
and this park is not closed because it is a public park, so we did have some people talking and stuff and kids playing in the background, but shouldn't really have been a big problem for our players today. The wind, though, I mean, I can't emphasize enough how windy it was and how good a putt that was for Mason from even 15 feet with 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, those 15-footers become testers in this wind for sure.
Yeah, you can see even Cupcake's taking a little longer here just to really make sure he wants this one staying. What's Fredy doing in the background there?
That wind is no joke, guys.
Yeah, you can even see the OB flags behind the basket going crazy. There you go, cleaning up the par. Now Fredy here actually has a tailwind and didn't take his time. He didn't. He kind of just went for it, which is a Fredy thing to do. But
Yeah,
with this wind,
this hole can definitely produce big numbers with the OB on the left and the Mandel on the right.
yeah, Fredy taking a 5 there, so going back all the way to par.
And now we're on hole 5. It is a par 3, 263 foot. You gotta hit this main gap, something slow, mid-range, or putter, unless you're going with a flex forehand.
Or this. Cupcake's throwing on that same Firebird, I believe. Just right, left wind is helping him, and you can see it gets pushed. He's almost playing Plinko with the trees above the basket. And gets a little
circle.
unfortunate roll, but he's going to be just outside circle, putting downhill with a right-left tail. So pretty fun shot to watch, though, just going over the top of that. Mason just looks like he gave this good height and spin and almost flashing chains, but yeah, again, we've had some really close calls today.
Yeah,
It was pretty impressive watching these guys throw. But I'm stepping up here, ripping on the cash just because I wanted to keep it a little lower, and I knew the wind was going to move it, and I just put it pretty close.
Best approach putter in the game. Go check one out.
Yeah, Fredy steps up here and looking like a standstill, and he just looks so much easier for him throwing on those putters. Had to put it just a little further away than I did, but you know, he looked a lot better doing it.
Super smooth. Fredy Meza with the backhand.
Arguably one of the best woods backhand guys I've ever seen. Dude is so smooth. Yeah, putting downhill here for Cupcake. Got that nice wind drop and a really good birdie putt there to move him to tied with Mason for right now.
That was great. Great putt.
You see that wind drop right there, just right over the cage. Great putt. Now Mason's actually got some bad footing here. He's in it's a little drainage area, so he's not going to get a lot of leg power into this. He's going to try and use a lot of arm. He's got a little headwind helping him out here maybe. And just got that nose down, but it's at least a par, hopefully. Fredy, speedster himself, gets that birdie. So makes up for getting the double bogey, so he's back under par.
Here's you with your first birdie look.
First birdie of the day, so yeah.
Cash it in.
Yeah, lead card. Looking all under par through 5 is not bad at all. Because there's some holes out there, the first 5 that can get you.
Yeah, and here we are at hole 6. Love this shot. It is a par 3, 368 foot. This hole's a little deceiving. It is starts you out throwing downhill. However, the basket is really level with the tee pad, so it plays tricks on your mind and what throw you want to have here.
Christian, I can't wait for you to watch this shot. It's something special.
Get a nasty skip. Oh my
He
goodness!
got one of the craziest skips I've seen on this hole.
Off the
It's the
base
tree
of the tree.
Yeah, I actually barely saw it. I looked down to grab my disc. I look up and his is in the air still.
Knowing you probably wanted to replicate it.
No, I had to go backhand with my Athena just to testing out that left side OB, but I'm okay there just because there's a lot of trees, a lot of mud. It's going to keep you from sliding down and rolling. Fredy just a little too much Anheuser on this one, but looks like he got up to the backside of that hill past the tree. He might have a little something back there.
Fredy really got lucky there. If you end up on the right side of those trees, it's really tough to get up and down.
Yeah, because you got some tall-ish grass on the side of that slope there, plus you got those trees just right in your way. And Mason,
Flexing something in.
good height, good flex. Gonna have a mid-circle 2 putt there.
Yeah, like we said, with the moisture in the ground, it's really hard to get a lot of ground play.
Fredy gave this a pretty solid bid from where he was at. Gave it good height. But now he's got almost a low ceiling comebacker with those cedars behind the basket. Yeah,
Absolute layup.
yeah, it was a big tailwind, so he got a big drop.
Are you running this here?
Of course, I'm thinking I just got my first birdie. There's a little headwind, and I can give this a pretty good run and pull.
Yeah.
But just low, hard to.
It's a little low.
And here's Cupcake putting for the what could be the solo birdie of the hole.
Catches it in. Great bird.
That moves him into the lead on our card here, moving him to 3 down. Fredy's probably got about a 10, 15 footer here and just complete air ball. This one shocked me, just
This
because he took a little
comebacker,
time.
yeah, this comebacker is a little longer than the initial putt.
He's actually circle's edge now, just inside. But he catches it. But erases that birdie he just got, so that moves him back to par for our card. And then me and Mason will just clean up here and head to hole 7.
Hole 7 is a par 3, 360 foot, low ceiling, down near the basket. You really want to throw something power and hopefully with a little bit of hyzer so that it skips towards the basket.
Yeah, there's a concrete walking path that is playing casual. It's not playing as a river OB. Cupcake is throwing on a Luna here because we do have a pretty good tailwind, but still throwing a Luna 360 through a lower ceiling gap later. Very impressive. Gives it good height. Gets a drop late. Puts him to about just a little past circle.
Great shot, especially with that putter in this one.
Yeah.
He's dialed. He's dialed with that Luna.
I'm just putting on that Athena again. Mine's a little lower. I do get a good skip, but I'm in a similar spot to Cupcake.
You have a good look for a birdie there.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go long here, so you can power up on a disc unless you absolutely pure it. You'll be all right throwing it a little short here and putting at it.
Mason hyzer's out a little early. He should have a look, maybe 45 feet.
Yeah, he might have some twigs in the way.
Yeah, definitely a low ceiling putt from over there.
Yeah. Fredy again, kind of just getting over on these discs just a little bit, but this one came back very well. Got some nice ground play, puts him to edge circle. So a couple of testers coming up for this lead card. Oh wow, he's actually got a pretty open look here.
Yeah, with that low ceiling though, Those branches are hard to see on camera, but they are there.
Christian really likes to try and get those out of here. Talks to the parks department every week, trying to get some of those cleaned up.
Hey, whatever makes the course better, man. Huge shout out to Rockwall Parks and Rec, though, keeping this course beautiful. Always taking our suggestions, listening to input, and always making the best decisions for the course. So thank you for that.
Yeah, huge shout out there from Christian. High praise. Yeah, so me and Mason both missing our birdie putts here. I don't know what I'm talking about, but probably an excuse to why I missed that putt. Fredy, had a headwind there, just lifted him a little bit. Looks like Cupcake is actually a little bit closer than I thought. I was out of circle. He looks like he's got a 25-footer here with a tailwind putt. And that one gets him to 4 down. He is cooking right now.
Yeah, that's a great start.
Yeah, he has a 2-stroke lead on Mason, a 3-stroke lead on me, and a 4-stroke lead over Fredy. So he's in a zone right now.
And like I said earlier, the wind at Myers is no joke. So 4 down is playing great right now.
But we are coming into hole 8, one of the harder holes on the course here, played almost half a stroke over par.
Yeah, par 5, 838-footer. It's got a couple of shots where you really want to place it rather than getting distance. It's just so that you can have a better look on your next shot.
Yeah, it's really, you can go backhand through the right side or over the top here. You'll see a lot of players going with the power sidearm, trying to keep it a little low and just have it come back with its own stability. Cupcake throwing on a nuke here. And you see how it lifts a little bit because we are throwing downhill. But he's just going to land into a collection zone of mud and water. So he'll have a tough approach shot here.
What did you throw here, Jack?
I threw an Excalibur, a beat-up one. I wanted to flip a little bit because in practice the only way I got the eagle was actually going over those trees right there and getting into the bowl, actually. So that was what I was trying to go for, just to get something started, but not high enough for me. Now this shot was really impressive by Mason here. Ripping on a Halo Destroyer, giving it good flex, throwing it at that big tree and trusting it to come back, getting some skip and landing into a good spot. It might be a little wet from the rains, but that's
perfect.
You can't draw it up much better than that.
Fredy, only player going backhand.
Actually going over the stuff here. He got pretty aggressive and got into a pretty decent spot off those trees, but yeah, again, those are your 2 shots. You have the power sidearm or going over it. So
looks like you're taking some relief from the water.
Yeah, I'm actually standing on a concrete drainage pipe and made sure to confer with the card before I threw. And you can see over there, Cupcake's disc is actually in the mud as well.
Yeah, it gets pretty soggy here with this North Texas clay.
Yeah, so I'm flexing on a forehand Firebird there just to lay up to get into the bowl and try and keep my birdie going. Ooh, Cupcake's in there with his idios on, or idios. I don't remember how to pronounce them, but he's in there thick. He's throwing on that same Firebird that he's thrown a couple times today. This is a hard approach shot here. This is got some trees in the way. Got to hit a gap.
Especially when you have to throw all arm.
Yeah, but he gives it really good height, gives it time to come back, and he puts it a little better than mine from a harder shot. So really impressive there. Plus he got a good roll apparently. Wow.
Yeah, he's got a straight shot through that gap, looking at the basket.
Yeah, now we're gonna go see the other 2 guys throw here at the what you'll actually see from a really good card of guys. Just this landing spot. I think Mason's trying the power hyzer here through that right side, and just hits that low ceiling gap from here. It was a pretty hard shot. Fredy's throwing on a backhand through the same gap here, and this one looks good. Just a little high again. Yeah, this shot probably one of the harder shots on the course. Just it's about what would you say, 300 from bowl to bowl, exit to exit.
And some early release action.
Yeah, I got really lucky though. I got up to the gap, but I'm not taking a birdie, I would say. This is what you'll normally see if you're in the bowl. You'll play a sidearm high and just let the wind take it, and it'll just drop down. Probably circle one. Maybe if you go a little deep here, get a nasty roll like Cupcake did, you'll have a 50-footer in the woods.
Welcome to the jungle.
I think this is a prickly pear that Freddie's throwing, and he threw it a lot today. You just see him, little nose up. The wind is right left, so it's just dropping him right next to the basket. It was a beautiful approach shot.
Great shot by Fredy. He's got the touch, man.
Yeah, Mason's going to do a very similar thing, I would guess, throwing a little slightly nose up. He plays it a little more right, let the wind take it, but something's that's going to come back and give him a nice, easy putt there for his birdie, hopefully. So yeah, I got really lucky to actually get through some of that stuff. So I'm throwing about little over 100 feet here. Throwing just another cache I have, just getting it close to the basket. He's got a pretty open look here, but it looks like he's got a headwind putt coming up. Yeah, you see that flag picking up.
Yeah, that was tough timing.
Yeah.
It would have been a great bird to go 5 under through 8. This is the tester, man, especially if that wind starts ripping again.
Yeah, and having to be the final, you're furthest out of everybody after you just putted, so you know that you got to walk from where you just were and come to where you are, and
There it is.
yeah, it's a bit of a struggle having to putt again after you just putted, and Cupcake just leaking this left, looking like he'll take his bogey. Mason with a nice birdie cleanup that moves him to 3 down. Should be tied with Cupcake after his bogey here. Cleaning up my par. This one's it's a weird hole because in wind like this, the par feels all right, but normally it doesn't feel good. You want to get the birdie here on this hole, but Cupcake coming away with a bogey, Fredy coming away with a birdie. So coming into 9, we've got 2 players tied with each other.
This is a tough hole. Arguably one of the hardest. It is a par 4, 485-footer. Danger everywhere. Very tight fairway. Mando on the right side and absolute jail on the left.
Yeah, this hole, it's almost a placement shot, but you have to hit this fairway gap with something stable on the sidearm, or you'll see a backhand turnover. But yeah, you've got elevation change. You're throwing at some rocks here, and Mason actually gets a great skip into a really great landing zone there. So he threw it pretty much perfect.
That's ideal, man. That's a great shot.
This is an insanely tough hole. So if you can land where Mason just did every time, then you'd be extremely happy. Yeah, we're seeing Fredy here throw that backhand I was talking about. This is a bit of a tougher play in my opinion, because you got to test the ceiling to get that glide, and you want to get it almost turned over, and you don't get as much ground play. But Fredy showing why he's the smoothest in Texas. Actually, beautiful shot there.
You like my quote here?
Great shot. What are you doing here?
Throwing a Hooligan disc beat that I got dyed by my friend a little early, but rode a bit straight and got a nice tree kick to slow me down.
Great, some tree love there.
Yeah.
Kicked you back towards the fairway.
Cupcake throwing a Luna again, just angle control. And there's those rocks I was talking about, just kicking him away, getting him a little unlucky there. He's got some awkward footing coming up too.
Awkward footing, but he does have a straight shot at the basket here.
I remember you being in a similar spot here, throwing a vibe forehand and absolutely parking it. So let's see if Cupcake can do something similar here.
Yeah, I think he's capable.
And here's why this hole has got some teeth. He actually gets through a decent bit for how early he released that, but these woods are no joke on the sides here. If you're in the left or the right, it is complete jail. And you'll see why, because I threw it a little left, and I'm going to be in jail here. But yeah, 2 lackluster approach shots there. Let's see if Fredy can show us how to do it.
Go, baby.
A really good shot there. Going to be a little short of parked, but he's probably got about a 25-footer there.
Yeah, from this area here, I really like going with the little baby flex with my cash.
Yeah, certified best cash thrower
Absolutely.
around.
Absolutely. Hit me up.
Yeah, he's challenging anybody listening.
Anybody. Well, no matter what your rating is, I got you.
Mason throwing on a similar flex forehand line, landing in about the same spot as Fredy here, so they're going to have some work to do to get their birdies. I pitched out and got a tree to knock me down, but I will not be taking a par on this hole, sadly. Cupcake got through everything. This is pretty lucky to be getting through all that from where he was, but let's see if he can collect on his luck.
A little bit of a kiss off the tree, and so a little short of where he wanted to be, but should be.
He's going to be on that slope, though, and with that slope having a little mud on it, it's going to be interesting putting from there. I'm actually giving this a pretty good run, but didn't fully commit. Got it. Didn't even give it enough. So I missed left there. Hopefully tapping in a bogey. Here's Cupcake putting for his par.
Great putt there, especially with the previous hole. In the back of his head, Fredy. Great birdie.
Yeah, nice birdie. Actually, his got a very colorful scorecard here today, but he's working. He is fighting back, and that's a good birdie stretch to get 8 and 9. Very good holes to get there.
He had to represent Mexico with the green, white, and red.
And here's Mason now, also getting the birdie, also going birdie on 8 and 9. That'll move him into the lead past Cupcake here. And I will be cleaning up my bogey here, so looks like we've got par, 3 under, 2 under, and 4 under going into the back 9 here. Yeah, Mason going birdie, bunch of pars, birdie, very impressive here. But yeah, that wraps up the front 9 of the 2025 North Texas Open. Check out the next video
For the back 9. See you there.